Good morning or good evening to you, my friends, wherever you may be in the world. Alan Clements here from the occupied islands of Hawaii. September 26th, 2021. I hope you're well wherever you may be. Today is the final talk in this series, Deadman Walking, Freedom Never Dies. Bold statement. 11 life lessons in facing death, mortality, discontinuity. It is also very likely the final talk I will give. Not easy to say that. Many of you have been following my life, my work, my visions, my dream, my personal challenges. Many of you are new. And from my heart to yours, thank you for being a part of my life. Not an easy moment, but an important one. You could say they're all important, and no doubt they are. But there is the spectrum of urgency and intimacy, priority, and truly that question that we all ask all the time, what really matters? I'm at that point. I've been ascending a very invisible mountain. Invisible in the sense that I'm not sure where to put my hands or my feet except to trust. Radical trust. And it roots way down deep for me in the meaning of Dhamma, Dharma. Today, I wish to share from that place of trust in Dhamma, in this epic challenge to ascend, I dare say melodramatically, the mountaintop, but further up the side of this vastness called life, in truth, in dignity, in conscience, in regard to the life of others, empathy and compassion. I've shared a lot over the years. I've shared a lot over these last, this 11th installation of 11 life lessons. I'm going to share some of these numerically ordered visions and insights that I've had. I've written them down. For those of you who are interested, obviously you could also refer back to any of the talks that I've given. I need to take some time personally, before I dive further into this sharing, I need to take some deep time to further feel into the truth of who I am and where I'm going. Many of you know that I was diagnosed in Los Angeles in April with an ascending aortic aneurysm, the largest vessel in the human body that leaves the heart. And as the surgeons have told me, it is enlarged to the point of ready to burst. They call it dissection or rupture. And it would be easy enough just to see that vessel as a radiator hose and just, put a massive scalpel through one's chest and cut open one's sternum, remove that element of the aorta, and now with the aortic valve bleeding as of last month, and just repair that part of the body. And I've looked into it pretty dramatically with a variety of surgeons and hospitals, and brilliantly it can be done. And like everything with rewards and consequences, adverse effects, as we know today, which is ubiquitous with COVID and the vaccination, the adverse effects of this surgery are, from everyone's estimation and assessment, one of the most dangerous, if not the most dangerous, operation on the human body that can be done. And I've weighed the consequences and the risks. I've talked to people who've had the surgery. I've talked to people who have survived the rupture. There are a few. It's ironic, here on Hawaii, I was told even before coming that there's no way that I could be saved if the aneurysm burst here. So it's very interesting to be in an area where you cannot be held medically and surgically. And equally, I am empowered by my own choice. I have no victim in me. And it's just one of those decisions that truly embodies the word epic for me personally. And I have come to Hawaii to fulfill certain visions that I've now fulfilled. I'm in the final days, as many of you know who've been following my life, with the beautiful angels in hospice, which I am now actively involved in, although there is virtually nothing that can be done. And I'm also engaging the medical profession in America and in Hawaii with doctors, psychologists, nurses, and pharmacists with the choice of my body, my life, and my transitional moment. In other words, I have actively explored conscious euthanasia. And I'm just a few days away from being granted, through all legal means, the right to take my life. The details of that are very dramatic for me, to say the least, and perhaps it'll be for you or anyone in your life that has had to come to that choice. Not an easy decision. I haven't made a decision, but I am walking up very close to that choice. And so I need to take time to put this behind me. That's why this last life lesson is to walk on. And I'm believing and trusting that the best is still to come. I'm a high fan of the concept of rebirthing in my more heroic, tender moments, distilling the narratives and, for me, the propaganda of death and disease and old age out of my paradigm. And I'm getting there day by day. In this next coming days, this next coming week, however long I need to take time for myself. It could be only 24 hours and I'm back right here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't need to know, but I need to feel. I need to dose with my own conscience, my own mindfulness, and my own sensitivities to the deepest roots of my integrity and conscience. I know that you know exactly what I'm pointing to. Sometimes we get to that place along this side of the mountain where we really has to ask the question, what really, really, truly matters. I mean, no postponement. And I'm at that stage. I'm blessed to be held with friends and family. I'm primarily blessed to be held by my own dignity, my own conscience, my own right to choose. And I bless the people who've been near me, the medical professionals, the psychologists, the nurses, the hospice angels, the friends, both on island, on other islands, in the country, in the world, who've passed, who've died, my angels, my deities. Thank you from my heart to yours. I'm in a good space, a remarkably effervescent space. It's luminous for me. Deep down, deep inside, it would be not honest to say there is a radical anxiety. How could it not be? You're encased in a biological God container, driven by the impulses of totality. Every insect, every bird, every child, we're interconnected to. The preponderance of death in this samsara, this ocean, you could easily just laugh it off and satirically, just glibly, gallows humor it to death, to death, to death, Holocaust after Holocaust. What's new? I've been listening to the weeping song over and over again. How could you not be emotional in feeling life, right? Not just your own dilemma, your own predicaments, your own hopes and glories, your trust, your faith, your heaven, your avoidance of hell, the catastrophe of evil, the heartbreaks constantly. I've never felt so virginal without the protection or the encasement of time and privilege. It's just wow. If there's a word that reinvents naked, I personally feel very alive and naked and very radically empowered when I feel down deep into the asana of my strength and my compassion and my trust, and my choice to mindfully euthanize right up close to the edge of that recognition, decision. And I don't say it with drama, I'm just saying like, wow, I'm privileged. I think of my mom over the years in a wheelchair, in IVs, utterly dependent, to state the obvious, on family and friends and assisted living care. Unthinkable, the gift of being at this stage of life and vital, walking 4 miles on the beach fast, doing my yoga, chanting, singing, dancing, imagining cosmic love. And at the same time, every cough, the nurses and doctors tell me, every sneeze, I have violent sneezing attacks because of this ancient brain trauma from a car accident. Any of those events, you will die. You could die. The aneurysm could burst. And you go like, fuck. Ha, 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 ha. And so you just kind of keep pushing that Nikka sky away. You just keep pushing it away. You just keep dropping down deeper into the soul of the matter. That's been my Dharma right now, and I'm dropping down deep into the soul of my matter, but I want that choice to transition mindfully on my terms if I decide to do that. And if not, I've got things that I really want to do, which I want to pursue, which I'm going to explain at the end of this little sharing. But I need some time away by way of saying thank you for being in my life. There's no way to integrate in life. I've decided that the Dhamma is not something you integrate. I feel like I'm in an extraction from the context of thisness into a flow into some other sacred wonderment that I'm not sure exists, but I trust. So I'm rebirthing. As many of you know, rebirthing is a very intimate concept to my soul, to my heart, to my continuum. It's a combination of 3 words. Bhavana, the bhavanification of consciousness, the beautification of consciousness. The nibbanification of consciousness, that unconditional release, evolve, create, release. It's the biblical ascension. Are you with me in that ascension? Are you with me in your holiness? Come join me, Come join me. Let me join you in that sacred field, as Rumi talked about, post-Rumi. We're in that naturalness of uniqueness that's utterly you right now. I'm not fond of the quote. But this nibbanification is a trust in the soul of rebirthing. Release. What is there to hold to? The form, the biology, the memories, the memorabilia. Yes. We're a conditioned castle of conditioned memories, living in this organic pulsation called beingness in context to interior life, to exterior life, to wonderment, to imagination, to livelihoods, to intimacy, to orgasms, to fear, to oceans of tears and bloods, as the Buddha talked about. I want to ascend, and I want to extract myself from any participation in evil. And the third component of rebirthing for me is very much found in the combination of words bodhisattva and ubuntu. Like it's the recognition, as many of us know, the recognition that we're embedded in context. I am who I am through you and other. Life is clearly relational, inseparably intimate. And to recognize that deep, kind of immeasurable natural empathy because of us being us together in this one conditioned isness. I cannot be who I am without you. Everything is conditioned and supported or denigrated by other and self. So this rebirthing, the bhavanification, the nibbanification, the ubuntification, and for me the eroticizing of these states. What I mean by that is the deep, surreal, Dali-esque, like Picassoian, Buddhist, poetic, mystical, theatrical, crazy, gallows dark humor element, the erotification of our Dharma. Meaning that you can be your own avant-garde, unique expression of being. No two of us will do it alike. No two of us will kiss alike. No two of us will hold hands alike. No two of us will make love alike. No two of us will meditate alike. No two of us will live alike. No two of us will die alike. No two of us are alike. And yet there are lawful conditions that seem to resemble something familiar in otherness. And so that Dhamma familiarness, a lawfulness, a literacy, an alphabet of transformation, a Bible of growth, a trans-cathedral of openness, whatever we want to say to speak to this nuministic, existential, biologically blood-dripping craziness that we're embedded in by birth, that we have to participate in, forced to, like existential slave labor. It's just not right. I want to extract. So rebirthing is my navigational pulse. I'm walking on. Rebirthing is a synonym for walking on. And I do believe in my more empowered states that my choices of where I want to rebirth is really, truly a sacred existential field of unlimited possibility. That's what the universe provides for me, is this unlimited wonderment of imaginative, creative powers. I'm an artist in my soul, and I'm driven by the holy. And that doesn't mean purity alone. It means flaws and craziness and wildness, but self-accountability in this walking on process, the radicalization of being a principled person, Honesty matters, right? Self-honesty more than anything, and equally non-deception with other. To me, the luminosity of that holiness is integrity. And what does that mean really here at this precipice of life and future life? Rebirthing, a conscious moment. I want to drop down deep into the pre-LSD state of enlightened presence without form or ideology, and feel. I used to watch the hummingbirds on mushrooms in Bali. Unthinkable. And then the butterflies making love in space. The flowers opening and closing in grace. The snake ready to eat the rat. The kites high above with the children on strings. Our earth spinning around the sunball in a galaxy of dimensions, speaking to deities and angels, warding off evil, praying, crying, sleeping, eating, fantasizing, a life well lived. I'm walking on. Just don't know exactly where I'm going, but I'm going. And you're going. We're moving in this momentum of the river flow in all directions called life, right? Will we navigate it well? 11 life lessons in facing death. I've given you my best. I've written them down, should you want to remember how I thought of myself. Bring God into the room, 1. 2, grace under pressure. Thank you, Aung San Suu Kyi. Alone in a prison cell, being crucified by the evil dictatorships and the colluding running dogs of the world in denial, impotent in their leadership of freedom and democracy. Thank you to Aung San Suu Kyi. Thank you, people of Burma. Grace under pressure, courage renewed repeatedly under harsh, unremitting pressure. 3, quality of consciousness is everything. 4, liberate your freedom. Don't let fear take hold. 5, only you, Alan. Reasoning power, relativity, and trust. 6, art as life, life as art. Embrace your madman. 7, I believe in love. Thank you, Nick. 8, conscious navigation. Your vision of a sacred future. I have one. 9, in pursuit of the deathless, Nibbana. That could have been my favorite talk of these 11. I'm not sure, but I liked it. There was something about the stretch for me to move into that artistry with the concept, the emotion of anatta, the emptiness of centrality, and the stylistic play of dynamic theatrical dancing with self and other without a permanent soul entity that's the constant subject of a changing experience, anatta. 10, a defiant march of innovation. I like that, a defiant march of innovation. Let no 2 minutes, hours, months, years of our lives be measured by the conformity or the propaganda or an obedience to the belief system that I need to behave according to other. Refuse to ever defy your conscience, even if it is state sanctioned, right? Was it Albert Einstein that said that or something like that, or tens of thousands of other men and women? And 11, here we are. I'm walking on. The best is yet to come. I pray that as true. I feel it as true. I've spoken a lot over the years, introduced to the concept by my late beloved teacher, the late Venerable Seda U Pandita, in the concept known as parami. Paramis, plural. The states of excellence. I just love the feeling of this energy. The word parami, purpose, presence. Parami, purpose, presence, priority of purpose in presence, in context with self. empowered prioritizing of the parami response to complexity as a choice over conditioned memory and habit. The employment of Dhamma is clearly the artistry of choosing states of mind and heart and consciousness and bringing them forward in the field of consciousness through the senses and wherever consciousness meets consciousness. I do believe that we're in a field of unlimited consciousness, that it has forms, but the spirit molecule resides and frequents everything that seems to be dense. Consciousness, the field of consciousness, the deliberate prism of the mind, spectrumine, paramis. Take refuge in Dhamma, take refuge in Buddha, to me means take refuge in the paramis, the frequencies, the colors in the rainbow of enlightenment. Enlightening as a verb, as a rebirthing experience, bringing enlightenment, nibbanification to rebirthing, living in an enlightened radiance all the time. Is that true? I just said it. I feel it. I feel it. Walk on, Alan. Keep walking on. Keep, as Nick Cave keeps using that phrase, keep pushing the delusions away. Abide in the sanctity of your integrity, your conscience, your dignity. The paramis. 10 distinctive energetic frequency colors on the palette of consciousness. How well do you know these colors? How well do you know the authenticity of patience, the integrity of determination, the wisdom, the panya of metta, of loving kindness, the wisdom of loving kindness, not just trusting that my love is truly love. It could be sadness, it could be attachment, it could be greed, but commingling the energy frequency colors of the paramis. Wisdom, panya, I think it's the fourth of the paramis. And mixing it, infusing it with patient, present time, loving kindness. So let me just go through the list of the 10 real quickly and move on to the next. 1, dana, generosity. 2, sila, ethical intelligence, moral courage. 3, nekama, renunciation, simplicity, the courage to release conscious conditioning from shame, worry, restlessness, doubt, desire, fear, and embolden consciousness with the integrity and the dignity of mindful engagement of the paramis. Extract, create, elevate. 4, panya, insight, wisdom, a love of freedom. Just that phrase alone, a love of freedom. 5, virya, energy, effort, vitality. 6, patience or kanti, purposeful stamina. 7, satya, truthfulness, principled presence. 8, aditant, determination. 9, metta, loving kindness. And 10, upekkha. I wrote down another list of words too that are playful attributes of the 10 paramis for me. Grace, courage, circumspect, authenticity, naturalness, accountability, uprightness, dignity, kindness, conscience, creativity, respect, modesty, humility, transparency, simplicity, steadfastness, resilience, humor, adventure, silence, spontaneity, vulnerability, sexualized reverence, and uniqueness to your own breathtaking style. Make your own list, make your own colors, and bring the prism of your dignity, your conscience, your mindfulness to the forefront of your own mind and live in the radiance of the rainbow of your own rebirthing and take death out of the continuum, right? Take death out of the continuum. Another list that I've had over the years, I wrote down here, and please feel free to use them if you desire. Make your own lists. If you wish to put them out, that's your choice. But these are guideposts. These are reminders for my own rebirthing. They're just pointers. I just love to put notes up in my heart and walls to keep reminding me and reflecting back to me how to keep emerging in this continuum of life and not fall victim to obedience and totalitarian control and the manipulation of my own mind through media and the laziness of my own independent, courageous inquiry. I'll just read them through here. 1, authenticity, the power of real. Remember the subtleties, nuances, the divinity of tender details. Embody, Alan, your artistry, your style. Mix your mysticism with the aesthetics of beauty and love. 5, root your existence, Alan, in honesty. 6, move with the currents, with flexibility and flow. 7, dance in your uniqueness. Boldly risk, I tell myself, new forms and innovation. 8, blow your mind with compelling naturalness. 9, be your own God of originality and creativity. 10, define the days with courage and bold displays of intimacy and risks. 11, trust yourself. Trust in yourself. Trust in your beauty. So challenging. Trust in your beauty. That includes your foibles, your weaknesses, and your flaws. 12, no obstacles. Get better and more skilled. Empower your determined resilience. 13, reinvent your inspiration, Alan. Make everything matter. 14, and be a visionary of caring, kindness, and grace. And let us remember, 15, for me personally, to pass on our freedom to the children. To state the obvious, our time is short, whether it be a minute, or if you're young and you have 50, 60, 80, 100 years, who knows? Our time is short. But the gift of my life is the extraction, the learning, the naturalness of breathing and feeling, and my roots in the lives of other human lives, and nature and God, and deriving from history all these beautiful qualities that I'm able to remember in my own soul through my own diligence and through my own trust, principles. The Dhamma came through me. I am blessed from my forefathers and mothers and children and friends. Imagine if we were all relatives that we are, and we remembered the 117 billion other relatives that have lived before us that are just known in this epoch. And to think of that rootedness, everything in my mind and heart and soul, moments of innovation, it's coming through me. I'm channeling, I'm living, I'm being nurtured by the Dhamma of other people's lives. Their honesty is through me. Their compassion is coming through me. And we have to keep on keeping on, right? Keep on soldiering on, keeping that freedom alive for our children, those principles for the future of life. What is your North Star? What's on the horizon of your hope and your dream? Freedom. Use our liberty. to support the freedom of others. A Aung San Suu Kyi statement. I could go on. I'm going to come to the end. Thank you for being in my life. I'm walking on. I don't know where I'm going, but I trust. I've navigated some very difficult terrain in my life. This is not the most difficult. I feel so graced with decades of life and choices. I've lived to this point 70 years, long time. I'm not saying it's time to go, but it's time to walk on. I do believe in the trust, in the value, in the honesty. I've reflected a lot in the silences of my time. Mistakes made, flaws that seem so rooted, you just can't get your hand and your heart and your mindfulness into that crevasse. Other times I surprised myself with courage and grace and caring. I so honor my teachers, my guides, my Kalyanamitas. I've been blessed to find myself through this navigation at the feet, in the arms of lovers and teachers, in the grace of friends and surgeons and nurses and hospice people, and my blessed doula, providing the alchemy to transition. If I choose, I get to choose with strength and power and dignity. I love that. And I may very well be back. Who knows tomorrow? I don't know, except that I finished this series. And I need to transition a little bit. I need to high dose my courage to feel. I need to look into this medicine. And do I have the power to alchemize that and make it a rebirthing substance? I'm not taking my life if I so choose to do that. I'm gifting my life into rebirth. I want to end the series with just some practical sharings that are very personal to me. Few know, but some do, that I wake to engage the creative edge of my Dhamma. I'm not evaluating that as powerful or good or spiritually correct. I'm very spiritually incorrect, and more so by the day. If you only really knew how I think to myself, you probably would dislike me more than you may already do. I don't know anymore. And do I care? Yeah, of course I care. I'm rejection prone. But do I really care? Not really. Why? Because I wake to live my Dhamma. I have a vision of Nibbana. I have a vision to be in Maitreya's Sangha, the Buddha to be. I have a vision to meet the goddess of my existential total dreams. I've met some great women, and I'm ready to meet the queen of the Dhamma in this life, in the next life, to transition through the intersubjective, transformational awakening of shared space, and to meet brothers and sisters. I want to look into her eyes and say, we've known each other for 10,000 lifetimes. And I want to play in the memorabilia of that existential album and go, wow, we sang those songs. I hurt you in that way. I'm crying for forgiveness. No, it's so much more beyond that right now. We are now in the process of enlightenment. I want to take birth in a Buddha sasana. I want to hear a Buddha teach, talk interrelate. I want to see psychic powers manifest all over the screen of totality. I want to be a participant in that very rare existential event known as a Buddha Sasana. Talk about come join me in that sacred field. Come sisters, come brothers, play with me in that very rarefied field of a Buddha field. Take the religion out of it. We can do something that's so rad together that we leave our mark in this vast samsara. We leave principles. We leave the paramis alive and nurtured. We leave those music. We're keeping alive the Dhamma. Buddhang saranang gacchami. How many times have I chanted that? And I've never felt it as more important. Dhammang saranang gacchami. I take refuge in the Dhamma, in bhavana, in the paramis, in nibbana, in adhitant, a determination to move from here, transitioning through time and space and form, to be there in, oh my God, I am now in Tusita. Soon I will be there. I can feel it. I know it deep down in my being, putting every bit of energy, dhammically, spiritually, existentially, emotionally, psychologically, into that vocation of conscious, transcendent rebirthing. Call it what you will, mindful euthanasia, meditation, and dynamic existential, transdimensional action, high dose of something post-psilocybin. Let us use our imagination, girls and boys and friends and lovers and deities, and let's create not just a garden, but a transformational, wild, Dali-esque, Buddha-esque field, a circus, a trans-Broadway. Let's blow the minds of evil with our innovative activism and our depth love of the mystical. Reinvent everything that we quote and make ourselves quotable through the experience of how courageously we live. Let cinema be the quote of our behavior. Wow, look at that. Look at Gandhi's handful of salt to the sun. King's dream speech, the Buddha's enlightenment. Oh my God, right? A moment of someone's tender lovemaking. Doesn't have to be famous. Just has to be true and real. I'm walking on into that dimension of authenticity and trust. I have upcoming projects. I have the feature interview that was recently released by the Young LA Activist Burma group that they did with me a few months back. I haven't watched it, but I hear that it's quite compelling. I'm going to put it up on my Facebook and YouTube soon. My beloved friend and colleague Jeffrey Hellman has engineered the audiobook from the Voice of Hope 25 years hence from its origins with Aung San Suu Kyi. Audible and Amazon now are reviewing it for the third time, and we will release that sometime this week. A remarkable set of conversations that are more important today. Unfortunately, Aung San Suu Kyi is imprisoned. So I read both parts and make it clear when she gives an answer, this is what she said. And then there's three other feature interviews in the book with my mentors. U Tin U, 93 years old. What a radical gentleman. I'm going to speak with you about him to end this talk. U Chi Meng, wow. A poet, a satirist, a humorist. He told me I was put into prison without a pen or a blanket and paper. And I went, how did you survive? He said, I just checked my thought at the door and smiled at me. I've never been happier. If my wife knew how happy I was, she would be upset. Whoa. All the years of meditation that I've done in LSD and psilocybin, and to say that, how radical can consciousness evolve and develop? So the audiobook is coming up soon. I really ask of you, get it, spread its news, bring conscience and activism into the world. It's so much larger than Aung San Suu Kyi in Burma. She spoke for the people of the country. She spoke in those words, and I've read it recently again, about the importance of a global revolution of conscience. How much more important could it be right now with medical tyranny, political tyranny, spiritual tyranny? We must fight back. And this book, these book of conversations with these savants of revolution is genius, I think. I've written a children's book that my dear friend Heidi Gold in Bali is illustrating. It's written. It's called An Angel. An angel appeared to me in my room last night. And I wrote it lyrically, probably for the child in me, to believe in the purity of love, giving the child hope in the darkness of the night, in the metaphor of the dream. A deity, an angel, a deva appears to this child and talks to this child in his or her sleep, awakening a transformational seed, nurturing a parami. As soon as Heidi is done, she's designing it and illustrating it, and we will make it available on all the various online retailers and for the children. I was blessed by the gift from my benefactors, Ian and Terry and their beloved daughter Gemma, and filmed what has been labeled as a World Dharma 2.0 anti-course. I don't believe in courses. And my colleague and dear friend and co-author Fergus Harlow has organized the videos. He's brought forth detailed descriptions in each. Gemma has beautifully edited the videos and has created subtitles and highlighted points of high value in each of the videos. They'll be brought forth very soon. Fergus and Jeff are working together, and we'll bring them up on YouTube, and we're going to offer them absolutely freely. A 3-tier, 3-dimension, 25, 10 to 20 minute long video distillation of everything that I've ever thought and ever said up until late last year when the videos ended. And finally have found the time and the overall choreography to just present them. And Fergus and myself and Jeff are in the process, and probably within the next month and a half, we'll have a World Dharma 2.0 video anti-course available for all of you who wish to participate and take what's valuable to you. A lot of what I've been sharing on live streams and in my talks are found in those videos, and I'm very happy to present them as I walk on. And God willing, I will begin to offer a bi-monthly, on Zoom, freely offered World Dharma Forum question and answer 90 minutes for anyone who wishes to sign up and interact based upon your involvement in anything that I've said or done, whether it be in literature, in books, my novel recently, Extinction X-Rated, and in the videos on the World Dharma course. Very excited about that. I want to meet you, and that'll be up. We need someone who can offer their assistance. I'll speak about that in a minute. Another project, actually, that I am actively involved in is the writing of a film based upon my novel, Extinction X-Rated. And I'm going to take my hand at directing and producing and acting in this film. And I'm looking for radical editor. I mean, really out of the box, rad. Music rad video editor who wants to work with me in a kind of 2 to 3 to 4 month creative soulmate dynamic to create this extraordinary explosion of music and sound in visual nuance, to do a sonic blast at the soullessness of dictatorship in the universe. It's my highest dose of cinematic medicine, sonic music medicine, psychedelicized, meditative, parami-driven, Dhamma, revolutionary medicine that I want to put into 75 minutes to 80 minutes and 90 minutes on a screen. And I'm really asking who out there wants to join me in the creation of this. I am now writing it. I've got a brilliant friend that I recently met through the good bonding of my dear friend Tom Sewell, who introduced me to his beloved friend. I don't want to name drop, so I'm going to leave him off right now, but a prominent production designer with numerous high-end credentials, who did Apocalypse Now, one of my favorite movies, and Blade Runner, and all the Bond films. And he and I have been talking. He's on board to help me in the co-creation of the images and to set my sights on a high note. In fact, he helped me shape the title, which is called Raw War. And it's my cinematic literary mandala, like the book is a literary mandala. It's a novel, but it tells the story of the cosmos as I see it, in my battle with evil, in my passion for the erotic. So that's a call out. That's in the process. I pray before I euthanize, the damn thing gets written and filmed, and then I'll feel complete, then onward to the next birth station. I have a book of conversations right now that my colleague and friend Fergus is transcribing. All the conversations and interviews that I've had throughout the last 35 years are being placed into a book. That's well into the process. These 11 life lessons in facing death, I'm going to introduce a very radical with my friend Janine Davies in Vancouver. Should I make it back? Where we drop into the most comedic, crazy, satirical riffs about these 11 life lessons. And I want to introduce a new subtitle to the book, 11 Life Lessons in Facing Death, comma, and Not Giving a Fuck. So that's in the works. Every talk that I've ever given, live stream on audio and video, all the shows that I've ever done that are now being compiled, I'm going to offer them in a audio video library and offer them free to the world. That's in the process as well. And the final thing that I'm involved in, which I'm well involved in, is I really miss if I really think about like postponing euthanasia, is to get back on stage. I'm here on Maui just praying that the Mac or the castle opens. I see that the amphitheater is open, but it's socially distanced and it's mandatory vax and all that kind of stuff. But who knows? I'm hoping I can get back on stage and just go crazy and riff on a nice dose of acid and just bare my fucking mystical, crazy, satirical, gallows humor soul and raise a bonfire of hope in this madness. It gives me a lot of joy to think about creating that and go on tour. I miss being in the company. I miss being held and loved and anointed with the feminine and the masculine, the God and the goddess. I miss human contact. Who the fuck doesn't? This is bullshit. So I am in the endemic, the end of the pandemic phase. And there is some hope in all of that. I was joking the other day with hospice, the nurses that were here. There was one there who was completely covered with, kind of plastic shoes and a mask and a glove over her body. And you could just see these bright, shining, angelic eyes. And there was this sense of kind of mutual attraction. And I went like, God, here's this person giving me morphine and all kinds of fentanyl. And don't you need some Ativan to chill yourself out at night? And I'm going like, no, let's just get naked. I'm thinking like, just fuck death. So there's a place in me that's radically humorous. I'm not like melodramatic about like, this is the end of life, blah, 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 blah. Stage gives me a chance to really lose it. And that's part of the thing about walking on. It's like, I'm just tired of doing me on the terms of me. I want to go crazy. I want to embrace my madman. So I'm sharing with you my final moments here. This is it. I may not be around again. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I'm signing off. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for tuning into my soul. Thank you for going along on this journey with me. Post-diagnoses from LA in April to today in Hawaii. It's a short 6 months. I've met so many people, so many doctors, so many hospitals, so many goddamn tests and CT scans and echocardiograms and angiograms and assessments and videos and Zoom calls. It's just, God, give me a new life. So let us remember, at least I want to remind myself to remember for me. I want my life to be remembered as simply being true to yourself. Giving a flawed, troubled life the best shot. Trust in your soul, trust in your Dhamma, and fucking never give up. Never. Kick the ass of evil, of God, of demons, of limits, of flaws, of death. Fuck you, death. I'm walking on. And the best I do believe is to come. So from my heart to yours, thank you. Catch you down the road.